What is going on, guys? CryptJ1958 here. Got a new deck profile for you. This is a deck that I wanted to build for a little while, and the ban list kind of made me not want to. And then this most recent one kind of brought it back, so I figured might as well build it. It took me a while to get all of the cards, so bear with me. Yeah, let's get into it. This is a pretty fun deck. It's probably not the most competitive deck, but if you've watched this channel for a little while, you know that I don't really do really competitive decks very often. It's usually rogue and kind of fun decks. But let's just get into it. So we're going to be running frogs. We got 3 swap frog, 3 dupe frog, and then 2 Ronin. It's pretty standard. This is what you use for going into like Totally Awesome or Link Climbing. Swap frog dumps a frog, and it's not once per turn. So if you can get him out multiple times, you can just keep dumping Ronin Tonans or other frogs. And then dupe frog, she's destroyed by battle. Most often, you'll be able to get a frog to your hand. It's when she's sent to the graveyard, not if, so she misses timing a lot. So battle is like the main time that you're going to get her search effect. But while she's face up on the field, she's the only one that can be attacked. And then Ronin banishes a frog to special summon it. Pretty self-explanatory if you know. They've been around for a while, just let you know what's going on there. We're going to move into our hand traps. Probably one of the best hand traps in this format, Gamma, with the 1 driver. We're in a format with a lot of monster effects, and pretty much if you can stop the right monster effect, you can shut down a lot of decks. If you are going against like Infernoble Knights and they get out Isolde, they send equip cards to the graveyard as cost, you activate Gamma, and a lot of times their play just kind of ends there because you destroy the Isolde and they need to get out more extenders to kind of go off. So it can help quite a bit. And with this being kind of a frog trap deck, you're not going to have monsters on the field usually within your first couple turns, so it's live a lot more often, and then once you actually use it, it's just discard fodder for some of the trap cards. And then the last monster in the deck, to Backjack. This guy is really good. If he gets sent to the graveyard, you take the top 3 cards of your deck, arrange them in any order, and then during your opponent's turn, you can banish him from the graveyard and reveal the top card of your deck. If it's a normal trap, you can set it, and you can actually use it that turn. So you send him to the graveyard, whether discarding it or off of the effect of another card that we'll go over here in a little bit. You stack the top of your deck, and then you pretty much see, like if you have a trap that's going to help disrupt your opponent's combo, like Compulse or Ice Dragon Prison, something like that, you put that at the top, wait for them to kind of start committing, banish him, reveal, set, and then you can go off from there. So it's pretty good. He can give you a lot of pluses if you learn how to play him right. The only spell card in the deck, Scapegoat. It is a 1-card Link 4. In desperation, you can use it to keep yourself alive, but usually it's a 1-card Link 4, and we have some pretty good Link 4s in the deck. Alright, we're gonna go into the trap lineup. We're gonna go into the Paleos. So we're running 3 Dynamiscus. It really bothers me that they are different rarities, but I can't find another super or 2 more ultras, so this is what we got right now. We're running 3 Canadia. So Dynamiscus, if you don't know, you target his cost, and then if your opponent can't stop this, you discard a card from your hand and banish that card you targeted. So again, you can get rid of problem monsters, just stuff like that. And then Canadia is a Book of Moon. You just target it, flip it face down. Can't be used for link plays, synchros, all of that fun stuff. The last Paleozoic that I'm running, this one I would switch out for Impermanence if I had it, but that's a little bit out of my budget. But running Olenoides. And what this one does is it's a MST. It destroys the spell or trap on the field. With the invoked Dogmatica deck running around, if they start with Magical Meltdown, you just pop that and you can actually interact with a lot of their stuff, because Magical Meltdown makes it so you can't interact with like their fusion summons and stuff. You have to like wait a little bit, so it can get kind of annoying. But yeah, all of these, when they're in the graveyard and a trap is activated, whether your opponent does or you do, you can chain the effect of these in the graveyard to special summon it as a level 2 Aqua monster. It is 1200 attack, 0 defense, and is unaffected by monster effects, which we actually play some cards in the extra deck that plays off of that. We'll get into that a little bit later, but you can use these to go into Totally Awesome. The drawback with them is if they're on the field after being brought back as monsters and they leave the field, they get banished. So the only time they don't get banished is if they are detached from Toad. So you can end up losing some cards, but as long as they keep going back to the graveyard, you can keep summoning them back as long as traps are activated. Let's jump into the rest of our traps here. So we got 3 Compulse, such a good card. You can really mess people up with it. So one of the toughest cards to deal with is Access Code Talker, and it's because you can't chain to the effect of when he activates, but you can chain to the resolution. So they bring out Access Code, they activate the effect to gain attack, then at resolution, you just flip over Compulse, send it back, and they just wasted all of those resources. And again, you play this right, you're going to stop your opponent's combos, it's just crazy disruption. A lot of the strongest cards in the game are one line. So, one of the, I guess, Trap Rotas would be the best way to describe it. Trap Trick, you banish a normal trap and then set a trap card with the same name from your deck, and you can activate it that turn, but you can only activate one trap for the rest of the turn. So you don't have to activate the one you set, but if you activate a different one than the one you set is, you can't activate. So you gotta play it right. I usually use this for like mind games on your opponent. So if you know they're going into like a boss monster that doesn't have targeting protection, then you activate it and then banish a Compulse, set a Compulse, and then they're just going to sit there going, huh. So if I continue to, play, you're just going to send it back and I'm going to waste all this. So they kind of, you can use it to mess with your opponent, or you can use it to set up paleos, so you can get your Toad plays going, stuff like that. There's a lot of like little intricate things you can do. I've been playing this for a couple months and I'm still learning all these different things that you can do and making changes and stuff. It's a lot of fun. So probably one of the best cards in the deck right now, Ice Dragon's Prison. This card is the only card in the deck that outs Dragoon. Because the way this works is you target a monster in your opponent's graveyard and you special summon it to your side of the field, but its effects are negated. And that is potentially a permanent monster reborn. So depending on how you want to use it, you can use it all sorts of different ways. But the second effect is what lets you out Dragoon, is it says, so after you special summon from your opponent's graveyard, you can banish one card on both sides of the field that have the same type. So what you would do is you flip this over, you target the Dark Magician in the graveyard, special summon it. Since it's a spellcaster and so is Dragoon, you can banish both of those, and the banishing is not targeting. So it gets around the targeting protection of Dragoon. There's also quite a bit of different ways you can use this card. I've used it. I've gone into Boros Sword, and the card that my second monster that I was going to use to activate Boros Sword's effect ended up getting blown up. So I just flipped this over, took one of my opponent's monsters, attacked, flipped it, and then attacked again. Because once you get your opponent's monster, you can pretty much do whatever you want with it. It just can't activate its effect. So if you don't care about the effect and you're just using it as a beat stick, you can use it that way too. You can use it to dodge different effects, like artifacts. They get sent to the graveyard, and then they activate in the graveyard. You can pretty much snipe them out, and they miss their activation requirements. Another really good card is Get Out. I get this off of Trap Trick quite a bit. You can target 2 monsters your opponent controls that were special summoned from the extra deck and send them back to the deck. So basically, they get out 2 big monsters, and then you're pretty much screwed from there. Got a couple less little cards here. We got Lost Wind. I went back and forth over this and Titanicider because they both do something similar. Titanicider is a special summon monster from the extra deck, makes it 0 and negates its effect. This one is just any special summon monster, cuts its attack in half, and then negates its effect permanently. And then when this goes to the graveyard and your opponent special summons it from the extra deck, you can reset it, and then it gets banished. Titanicider doesn't banish itself, so you pretty much always have it, but this one seems a little bit more versatile. Our protection card, because Feathered Duster is a thing, is Dark Sacrifice. So your opponent activates an effect that would destroy cards on the field. You flip this over, and you get to send Backjack from the deck to the grave, and then you negate the effect, not the activation. So things like Lightning Storm, they can't reactivate because you negated the effect. And then last card in the main deck, Imperial Order, also shuts down Feather Duster, and some decks you can completely shut it down. So that's the main deck. I'm going to jump into the extra deck here. So for the Link ones, we got Link Karibo and Link Spider. Link Karibo is for Backjack, and then they can both be used with Scapegoat to go into your Link 4s. Link 2s, Security Dragon. It's very important that he's a light. We'll go into that in a little bit. Akashic Magician. We're running frogs, so these just bounce stuff back to the hand. Akashic Magician bounces any monster she points to, non-targeting, and then if Security Dragon is co-linked, you can target 1 card on the field and bounce it back. We also got IP Masquerena, because protection. For our water links, we've got Coral Anemone and Water Charmer. Halki Fibrax is a water, so with the Water Charmer you can actually steal your opponent's Halki Fibrax. And then if you side in the Water Barrier statue, you can special summon it back with Coral Anemone, and they give you some pretty good beaters on the field. Then we got our Nightmare package, Phoenix, Cerberus, and Unicorn. These can be kind of a pain to make because all of the frogs become Death Frog while they're on the field. So you pretty much have to use like your paleos to go into them. So it can be kind of a pain, but you will run into needing them every once in a while. Link 4s, you got Boros Sword, Avermax. If you have him and Duprog on the field, your opponent cannot attack, and then he's pretty easy to make. He's usually like a pseudo-boss monster. Boros Sword just pushes for game. And my spicy tech for Link 4 is Zeraboros. So he gains attack for every banished card, both yours and your opponent's. You're going to be banishing a bunch of frogs anyway. And then what you can do is you make him and wait for your opponent to start doing their plays, activate a trap, bring out a paleo to point that to his link point. He will banish the entire field except for the paleo, because it's unaffected by monster effects. And then you just bring him back, set him in the middle spot, and your opponent can't go into the extra monster zones without wiping the field. And he comes back pretty strong. And then we got the two Toady Boys. Omni Negate, special summons from the deck, recycles itself. Just really good card. I wish it was at 3, but 2 works pretty well. And then last, we're just going to go through my side deck real quick, because there's a few cards in here that are pretty good that a lot of people don't know about. We got Droll, obviously really good. Stop Searches. It'll stop Dogmatica. For combo decks, you got Sphere Mode. And then, trying to get a third one of these, but these are pretty hard to find. We got Gizmek Uka. What this does is if your opponent special summons a monster from the deck, you can special summon this from your hand, target a monster on their side of the field, and then special summon a monster from your deck whose attack and defense are the same. So, in tandem with this, we have the Light Barrier statue and the Water Barrier statue. So if you're going against a warrior deck, they're going to use I Sold, they're going to send the equip cards, special summon from the deck, you summon Uka, target I Sold, bring out Light Barrier statue, and the only thing they can really do at that point is go into Link Cross and get the tokens, but then their plays pretty much stop there. Metal Marcher is wind, all of the other stuff they want to go into is either fire or dark, so they're kind of stuck. Halki Fibrax being water, it summons the tuner, same thing, you summon Uka, target Halki Fibrax, bring out the water barrier statue, and they're pretty much stuck from there. So it's really good. I'm trying to get a third one so I can make sure I have it in my hand. Depending on what deck you're going, you just put in the appropriate barrier statue, and you can completely shut your opponent down, and then set up your negates from there. And then Heavy Storm Duster, and then Evenly Matched. These are pretty good. If I had the impermanence, then I wouldn't be running the Illinoides, and these would be a little bit more important if I do happen to go against a back row deck. But as it is right now, I hardly ever side this in. But once I do get the impermanence, these will be a little bit more important. And then Evenly Match is just a blowout card, and it can set up your paleos as well. So yeah, let me know what you guys think about the deck profile. Let me know what you would change, and see you guys later.